can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Hello.
Hi.
How is my friend Teri Pugh?
I'm doing well. How's my friend Devon O'Day?
I'm better.
Good.
Better. Had a little stomach bug this week, and a lot of people have had it. And I was talking about it. I said, and then a friend pointed out to me, he said, you've had some health issues this year. And, I'd really looked at it. But, all in all, someone who's never sick, all of a sudden to have health issues all of a sudden, and the same one over and over and over. And I'm thinking, maybe so. And it made me bring up the topic. Sometimes, what is your body trying to tell you?
Right. What is your body? Listening to your body, because, we've talked about in the past, there's 18 inches roughly, depending on how your torso is, between the mind and the heart space. And we usually live in one or the other. But when we connect the two of them, that's when we are in our body and in our intuition, and we're connecting and we're listening to both. So when your brain or your body is going, help me, and the brain is going, oh, I can't do that because I'm too busy up here doing this. And your body is going, help me. And you're like, in a minute. And then eventually, the Colosseum crumbles and you go, well, okay, I should have listened.
Yeah. Yeah. Our body tells us things all the time. Elizabeth just joined us. Good morning, Elizabeth. I know people are logging on, and let us know where you're watching and what you're part of. Stress is a weird thing, and it kind of comes in and it sneaks in, and it affects our sleep. It affects our physicality. And stress is something that everybody knows it's bad for us. But what do we do about it?
But not all stress is bad for us. There are some stressors that are actually good for us because they keep us regulated. They keep I'm not talking about overworking stress and things like that, but there are certain stressors that keep us regulated. So they keep our chemicals regulated. But when there's a pivot swing too far over, like if this is stress, good for us. This is, I'm not stressed here. But when you're like, okay, well, this is stress and this is too much. And then it's like, okay, well, now all of this is stress. It's like a swimming pool. A swimming pool has to have the pH balanced in order for it to be clear, right? Good to swim in. Our bodies are about 73% water. So when we have too much stress, it's like a swimming pool having too much pHD. All kinds of foam can start to grow. And so our chemicals get off. And when our chemicals in our body get off, our stressors are huge. Depression can flourish. Lack of motivation can flourish. And from a physiological standpoint, we can have people have typically gut issues and by gut, I mean digestive and or stomach together, or they have throat issues.
Oh, where your voice is taken.
Yeah. And the gut and the stomach are basically blockages and having a hard time processing, having a hard time letting go, having a hard time moving through something, that kind of thing.
The book that is, my sister turned me on to it, and my friend Elisa years ago turned me on to a book by Louise Hay. And you can actually look up your symptoms, and it tells you probably what you're trying to process, what your body is trying to tell you. Linda McKinney just joined us, and Linda's down in Texas. One of my toughest lessons is overcoming stress. It is, and I'm glad to hear you say, Teri, that not all stress is bad. because
not all stress is bad. I mean, it's, we can nitpick it and say, well, I got all this stress and pick out what's not bad. It's like, well, okay, if you want to, we're going to be elementary about it, we can go there, but we're not. So it's like, there's just some, stress on the heart. When you're exercising, there's stress on the heart. That's actually a good stress because it's building cardiologist. It's building heart muscle. There's stress when you're working out on your muscles. It's building muscle. It's releasing lactic acid. There can be stress inside relationships or inside your own growing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a stress fracture. It can just be a growing pain, which then we benefit from that. See, Elizabeth.
I got stress over a kitchen remodel and it is fabulous.
Yes. So, stress can easily partner up with its cousin and its typical traveling partner, anxiety. And when the two of them get on board, then it becomes more of an issue. Because when you render yourself captive by stress and anxiety, then you're going to notice more of the physiological, because the physiological stuff will kick in when a larger part of you is stressed.
When do you know when there's too much on your plate?
When your body tells you.
I knew you were going to say that. Just stop it. Stop it right now. But when you go, and then how do you know what to let go of?
Well, I would say taking some serious time, not knee jerking, because knee jerking gets people in a place where they let go of all kinds of stuff. My clothes are cluttered, my shoes are cluttered, and they throw stuff out of the closet. And then 2 months later, they're like, well, where are those shoes I was looking for? Oh, that was in my fit when I was reacting.
Oh, okay.
I was just getting rid of everything. No, sit with it. Make a list of what are the things that are contributing to stress in your life. Maybe it's a job, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's something that you feel in the moment it's a stressor, and so you dump it, and then you recognize, well, wait a minute, there's actually more stress on me now because I don't have that. So getting clear on what that is, is it the job that a person doesn't like, or is it a person within that job that makes them crazy? You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can adjust boundaries around that person. Not everybody likes boundaries, and sorry about their luck. I mean, it's just the way it is. Boundaries are not set up as punitive or to weaponize. Boundaries are set up to teach people how to treat us. And when they start reciprocating that, then everyone gets along a lot better. So
Elizabeth says bad stress for me means migraines, definitely physical changes. Yeah. And Angie joins us. Hi, Angie. Good to have
Angie.
you.
Hello.
And Linda says, when I go down the rabbit hole, and we all know what the rabbit hole is. We all know what that is. I put myself in a timeout and put on my earbuds and do a 20-minute meditation to rest. Since December, I've learned no is a complete sentence.
Yes. And I love that. Knowing what to do is powerful. Being willing to do it is twice as powerful. Linda saying she knows that headphones benefit her, but she's willing to do it. So that's twice as powerful as knowing it, because now you're actually doing it and she sees the benefit from it.
Right.
Taking care of yourself, even if it's not, even if you're not, if you feel overstressed by looking at the whole plate of all the things to do, look at one portion. Look at one small little sliver of it and be willing to commit to that.
Yeah, being willing to commit and making those hard decisions. And, I think that we all have been taught to make the best of a bad situation. I think that is one of those things that we get taught, especially women, little girls. Okay, you've made this choice, just make the best of the bad situation. You'll find the good. There's a silver lining. You always find the good. when is it time to pull the plug?
Well, if you can't figure that out on your own when it's time to pull the plug, because maybe you're not seeing things clearly, seek out some help from someone other than a best friend that's probably going to sometimes be real with you, and sometimes they just tell you what you want to hear. So, when you have, Elizabeth has talked about tribes before, when you have those people in your life that's going to be real with you, they're going to be real with you across the board. So they're going to tell you, hey, I don't know that that's the best idea, but you know what, if that's what your heart's telling you to do, then you need to follow that, because that's your experience to have. When to pull the plug, let's take this let's take it in two. Well, let's see. What's the easiest? Relationships come up and jobs come up. Somebody throw out one more that we can use, and I'll dissect it down into threes. Elizabeth is pretty good about throwing out, but that can be anybody. Who's got one more? Relationships, jobs, what else? You need to pull the plug on, but you don't know if it's a good time.
Location, a move.
There you go. Okay. So in all of these, it's the same thing. In all of these, it's the same. You may have a situation where you feel, I need to make a move, job, relationship, location. I need to move away from this. So you sit down and you make out your list. Sometimes people call it a pros and cons, a healthy versus healthy, non-healthy, likes, dislikes, whatever. Make out your list and then see what it is in there. Is it really telling you that you need to move? You need to end a relationship. You need to leave a job. Leaving the job sometimes is the most challenging one, because when you move, when you end a relationship, and even when you leave a job, there's always an opportunity to circle back if you choose to. If you figure, if you're getting an intuition or an intuitive hit that you haven't made the right move, right? But when your cup is being filled up constantly and you're like, okay, I need to look at this and see, have I exhausted every possibility in this job, in this relationship, I guess in my location? Have I looked at everything? And I tell my clients to go through this heavy light thing where you ask yourself, does leaving this job, not a new job, not a new relationship, not a new location, but does leaving this job and all that it is, does it feel heavy? Or does it feel like, whew, that actually feels light? And sit with that. Now, if you're with
that is a phrase that I want everybody to take in what that means, because Teri taught me that early on when I started seeing her. Sit with that. It's the opposite of knee jerk. It's let yourself feel all the feels in regard to something and really be attuned to what your body is telling you, because your body will relax, release. You'll take a breath and you don't even realize that you weren't breathing. Right.
And then when you recognize, if you sit with it, say you're having some conflict at work and you sit with it and you're like, well, I really do like the work and I really do like it. I don't want to leave. So you stay. When it's time for you to go, if you practice sitting with it enough, then when it is time for you to go, you'll sit with it and you'll go, no, it's time for me to go. And there's not this, oh, should I go? I don't know. Ooh, what do we do? You don't get into all that. It's just like, no, I know this is the right thing for me to do. And the minute that you make that commitment, then other things start opening up for you. And, you will often have other opportunities open up. Sometimes when it's job related, they'll open up before you even left the other job.
It really does. It does happen that way. Nate, my sweet Nate from Essex County, he said, would love to come on your show and talk about our story. They have got the most incredible story. Nate, we will make that happen. Nate and his two brothers live across the pond. And So we'd have to work out the times difference and everything. But Nate, I would love to have you tell your story. And if you guys check out Essex County, their music is just incredible. Linda says, saw a meme the other day that said, don't make someone's irresponsibility your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Girl. I have to repeat that to myself many times a day. And new healthy habits are much easier to achieve. I love it. Angie says, I can always turn to my tribe. We're always 100% real with each other.
Right.
And Elizabeth says, I've second guessed myself and made big changes because of it, only to have it unwind the change because I knee-jerked it.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing, is that when we make a knee-jerk decision, there's a difference in a knee-jerk reaction and whether we want to call it God, the universe, spirit, source, intuition, whatever you want to call it, gently wafting in and going, now's the time. It's different because there's a peace that comes with that. Yes, there is some stress that comes with it. Oh, now I got to do this. But you got to be careful in how much of that stress you feed. You know, if you're around people that are stressful and stress you out, then your stress, which could be healthy stress, can turn to a toxic stress because you're around all these other people that are just, and now you're getting meshed with that. You know, you can make a decision to make a change, and then you can also turn around a month, 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and you can say, I'm not unwinding this. I'm just gonna now pivot again.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's things to be gleaned and learned from every pit stop along our journey. Every pit stop, whether it's leaving a job, leaving a relationship, leaving a county or a state or a country, there are things to be learned. Not learned sounds like it's such a educational or academia thing. It's not. There's experiences to be had which enrich our lives, and each one of those experiences come with this tiny little key that unlocks another part of who we are, and we continue to evolve. Like, what are those transformers? I always see the little transformer things where it's a little car and then all of a sudden it goes and then it's this massive like thing that walks around. But that's what we are. We're constantly transforming. We're constantly transcending. We're constantly coming up against resistance, which transcending turbulence, my business name, we're transcending. We're coming up against resistance and turbulence, and we're not bulldozing through it because that shatters us a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
We're standing still and we're waiting to see which way the wind is going. And then we're going with it because that's the divine guidance. We don't have to, strong arm it. It's why, unless that's just your thing.
Wow. That is all really, really, really good stuff. That's really good stuff. It's being, I laugh. There was a comedian that I just saw who's going to be at Zany's, and I can't even think of his name, but he did some sponsored ads, and I love comedians, so I get the ad all the time. And he said, mindfulness, growing up in the 70s, 80s, mindfulness wasn't even a thing because we were mindful, because we had time to be mindful. We didn't have a computer in our pocket, a TV in our pocket. We didn't have something that he said we would get on a bus and we just watch condensation on the window, listen to a radio. I mean, there was mindfulness everywhere. Now we have filled every silent moment of mindfulness with noise.
Yes.
Noise of our own making.
Right. And now we have to seek out the quiet. And that's the thing, is you don't really have to seek it out. It's there. It's just whether or not we're choosing to plug into that or not. And because we have so much technology and so much not even technology. We can't even blame it on technology. It is, we busy our schedules. I know we've talked about this before. It started for the most part in the early 90s. People went from, we're gonna, have dinner at home Friday night and, go to the high school football game. And no. That was kind of like in the 70s and 80s ish. And then in the 90s, this thing happened, and it's almost like you could almost just sort of see it, like this dome taking over, where suddenly mothers, and I'm not blaming this all on moms, but because moms typically were the ones that managed the family calendar, moms started color coding calendars. And then we've got soccer practice and this and gymnastics and football practice. And then we're going to stop at McDonald's and get dinner. And then we're going to go here. And then they're going to go home and do homework. And then we're no. And so we started prioritizing the calendar. It became the busy. Yeah. And now people struggle to find empty spaces on the calendar because the brain is going, there's a space that needs to be filled. Fill it with something. And instead of filling it with quiet time, we fill it with, oh, catch up on that show I'm binge watching, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And we have to learn to start taking some of our silent autonomy back so that we create that space so that our brains can actually work for us and not against us. We've cultivated our brains to work against us now. And then we sit around and bitch because our brains are just running amok. We have collectively taught ourselves to stay busy. Because
absolutely.
Busy means productive. Busy means successful. Busy means you're valid. Busy means you're important. Busy means you don't have time to actually live life. You're just too busy planning everything.
I have a calendar, and I will admit I'm starting to get stressed at calendar updates and stuff. I mean, it's just ding, 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 ding. There's another thing on the calendar, and I'm going, I'm still a very, I've got it, my calendar is still my calendar, but now it's got to be, everybody who has their electronic calendars and you're a part of any event, and then you get all the reminders for that calendar event. And it's just, it becomes so much that I just silence everything. And people say, well, did you get this? No.
Right.
And it's become my answer. No, I didn't. And Elizabeth says, I moved back to Minnesota, learned in 6 months that my heart belonged in Tennessee. Expensive lesson, but one I've learned for life. I love that. And we're glad you're here, Elizabeth.
Yes.
She says, I unplug every night at bedtime with a 30 to 45 minute sleep meditation. Really lets me let go of the day, good and bad. Oh, that sounds good.
Well, yeah, you're preparing your brain to rest. When I talk with people and they say, well, I'm on the phone and then I just, it's time to go to bed. And then they just turn their electronics off and they go to bed. What they're not understanding is that their brain is still reeling in all of the stuff. It's still computing. It's still taking in, and it takes a hot minute. That's why people lay in bed for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours, trying to go to sleep, because they have filled their brain so much during the day that at nighttime, not only is the spillage there coming out, but all the other emotional stuff and the grief and all that stuff, the anger and whatever else they're not processing, that stuff starts to bubble up. So then they lay in bed going, well, now I'm not really tired. I guess I'll get on electronics again. And it just is a constant jerking to your system.
Yeah, it really is. Suzanne just joined us. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi there.
Linda. And of course, Linda's a beautiful artist and photographer. She says silence is golden. And I'm sure that she probably experiences that on the daily. That's good. Elizabeth says, go to your app store for your phone and search for free guided meditation or free sleep meditation. There are loads of free apps that are fabulous. Oh, I love that.
Nice.
I love that. Oh, there's Bill. Hey, Bill. The syndrome is called television head. Your brain is like a TV that you can't turn off. It keeps processing too much info.
Way too much info, Bill. Absolutely. And it keeps people out of their deep, deep sleeps. And what happens when that happens, their heart never gets to fully rest. Their brain doesn't get to fully rest. Their body, their endocrine system doesn't get, and their nervous system certainly doesn't get to fully rest. Mm-hmm. And so then they wake up after hit and miss sleep and they're like, well, I'm still exhausted. It's because on the levels of sleep, you never got to sleep. You didn't get there. You shut your eyes, but your brain was still going. You might have got to physical sleep where your body shut down, but the brain didn't shut down.
And Bill points out it causes adrenal burnout.
Absolutely.
And it does. And I actually, when I was younger, because I was working morning radio up at 4 a.m, but I was also trying to have a life at night because I was young and I wanted to do everything because I was in Nashville and everything was exciting. And I had to cover all the events. So I was getting 3-4 hours sleep a night and stuff, and I'd crash and burn on the weekends and stuff. And I finally went into the doctor and I said, what is this issue? And he said, your adrenals are burned out. I mean, he said, and you can tell there's a pressure point right here in your forearm, get right up there. And if you touch it and it gives you like immense pain and like you want to scream, that's your adrenal area right there. And that spot. And it's so funny because I just touched it and I don't have any problem now. But I just remember being in my 20s and going to Dr. Adair, who's a kinesiologist, chiropractor here in town, and he touched it right there. And he went, oh, we're talking adrenal burnout. He said it was really bad. And I was drinking pots of coffee a day and just, and now I hardly drink coffee. I love coffee, but I have my 1 cup maybe a day. I don't live on it to keep me going. And binaural beats that you can find for free on YouTube. And I put it in for sleep and whatever. And it is just music and tones that work with your brain. And Teri turned me on to those and I have not looked back. Those are amazing.
Well, and that brings us full circle to listening to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen to your body. Sit down and really check in with your body, because so many of us are disconnected from their body. Mm-hmm. We're all here. We're if this is what society is. No, not all society, but we're all up here. We're not connected to our body. That's why people will have gastro issues, or they'll have, gout, or they'll have diabetes, or they'll have heart issues, or they'll have high blood pressure issues. And they let it go for so long because they're just not connected. They know something's going on, but the brain is just like, so they never shut it down, and they never connect to see, this is a thing. And I know we live in a pill society, but I'm just going to, and I understand, I have respect for the Western world, but I'm just going to say, if we were plugged into our mind-body connection, there would be a lot of folks not taking medication as a balm for some of the stuff that's going on, because you would have recognized it was going on before it became an issue.
Right. Bill says the crux of the thumb, we're talking about acupressure points for the adrenals, the crux of the thumb, the inside of the forearm, and just above the great bone shoulder blade are the pressure points. So there's 3. There's 3.
And the crux of the thumb is a really great one. Like,
right there?
Yes, right in there to pinch. That's a great one for migraine headaches, to get rid of migraine headache. And also for women, I don't know the exact, it's above the hip bones. Bill might know. It's above the hip bone. And it may be, I don't know if it's more to the external or more to the internal, but there's a spot there for women that if you have someone hit it with their thumbs, if you're going through menstrual cramps and you have someone hit it with their thumbs, it feels like you have just set on a legion of bumblebees, and it stings like a you-know-what, but it alleviates the menstrual cramps. So
yeah, Then what do you do about the bees? No, I'm just kidding.
You're grateful. You're grateful that you had the bees because now you don't have the cramps. So there's that. You know.
Hello, Ross Fiction. It's good to have you with us today. Then Bill also said the breastbone is one, the spot on the hip bone for the artery.
Gotcha. Nice.
Those are all really, really good. We need to have Bill on our show again too.
I know.
And Dreamcasters with Bill, I had to take a little break because my life took a yeah, I got on a new fast track, and it's been just a while for me to get used to getting everything working again. But I'm here. I'm here, and I'm learning what I can do little bit by little bit. And Bill says it's the femoral artery.
There we go.
On the hip bone. Well, that's our show for today, and I hope that we've given you guys some good things, how to listen to your body. The book by Louise Hay. Do you know the name of that book? You do, don't you?
You Can Heal Your Life.
You Can Heal Your Life. And I knew that you said that earlier.
It's over here in the bookshelf. If I'd have known we were going to talk about it today, I would have brought it out and been like, It's a yellow book, and it looks like, I want to say there's kind of like a heart on it, but the heart is like in rainbow colors of, not traditional rainbow colors, but like different versions of green, red, purple, blue, maybe. And in there, there's a lot of affirmation, a lot of thought-provoking prompts, and then there's affirmations. And then when you get to the back of it, you can actually pull up it's like the glossary, and it starts with the A's and it goes all the way to the Z's, and it's just about any variation of things that go on in your body. And how it's laid out is it's the issue, and then it's what typically causes. Let me go this way, because if people are watching us, it's the issue, and then it's what typically causes the issue, and then it's a mantra or an affirmation mantra, to repeat to sort of release that attachment that we have to it. And I mean, it's more times than not, I would say 99.9999% of the time, when you look at that book and you're having an issue and you read through it, you can relate, because it's, and not like a relate like you're trying to really grab at straws. Like, yeah, well, I think, there was that time 4 years ago that happened. You don't have to do that. You read this and you're like, oh, snap, this is happening. Like right now, real time in my life. I know what this is from.
I know what this is about.
Yes.
Linda says, when a physical issue comes up, ask my body what's causing it. Got to study work with a holistic Native American practitioner for 3 years who taught me how we need to pay attention to our body and nature. And Linda says, thank you both. Glad I remembered to tune in. Much love, Linda. We love you, Linda. And Elizabeth posted the Louise Hay book right below. You can also do, it's available online as well. You can Kindle it. You can, all the things.
I say, and I know I love audiobooks. I love them. I love them, love them, love them. But I think when it comes to a book like the Louise Hay book, I think that book is definitely worthy for your end table, coffee table, back pocket, purse, glove box. I don't care where you put it, but it is so valuable, and it has so many things in it that we don't typically think of, but it does help us bridge that gap between the mind body for just a second, to give us sort of a jump start to start thinking about those things.
Elizabeth says, I like to touch and feel my self-help books when I'm reading them. That's a good point. Sometimes I do like to do, a Louise Hay Google and then symptoms, and I can look up my symptoms and I go, oh, that's what that is. Of course,
Now the next step after that Google, and that's what that is, of course, is now what am I choosing to do about that? And that's the answer for all of us. Here it is. This is what's bothering me, ailing me, attached to me, whatever. Here's the probability and what this, looks like it is. I can relate. I can say, yes, I'm feeling this, and this is directly related to this. And now I get to choose. Do I want to adjust and pivot and fix this, become healthy with this, mend this? Or do I want to put this in my back pocket, circle back, circle back, circle back. And 3 years later, you still got the issue, but your adrenals are worn out. Your heart's worn out. Your body's worn out because you're stressed over something. I'm not speaking to you, Devon. I'm speaking in general to people. I don't want people to think I'm giving you a lesson here. But like, you know, because what happens when we identify an issue, but we are not willing to decide to change it, then what do? We eat more, we drink more, we worry more, we do all of these things. And then 3 years later, there's 30, 40, 50 pounds to lose. There's diabetes. You got to increase your readers. There's all kinds of shit going on in our body because our body is like, I've been screaming at you for 3 years. I have told you, I have blueprinted it out. I have shined the floodlight on it. It's there screaming. This is the issue. What you going to do about it? And if we answer, well, nothing just right now, because I don't want to make anybody else feel uncomfortable. Well, then you are committing to continuing to make yourself feel uncomfortable. And that is the biggest form of self-betrayal. And that is horrible. And we've all done it. So,
Anita, we're glad to have you today.
Hi, Anita. Yes.
Glad you joined us. My favorite story is my friend Jim talked about his brother who left a corporate job to open a Smoothie King.
Nice.
And it changed his life for the better. He said something about doing those smoothies and handing them out that window, and everybody loves it and everybody's happy. I just love it. He says, I love the whole act of making the smoothie. I know it's good for him. I know it's going to make him feel better. I love that job. And I love that story, is that sometimes we hang on to as the monkey with his hand in the log trying to grab the banana when there's a whole bunch of banana trees loaded with bananas behind him. We sometimes have to let go of the banana in the log and know that there is plentiful behind us. And well, we're here on Wednesdays, whether we are recorded and it is aired to show live, or whether it is live like we are today, just like a hair on a cheeseburger. We're right there.
We're right here.
Launchdate is where you can just come in with all your topics. So let us know, leave us a comment, and we do read the comments wherever you're watching this, and follow, subscribe, and share, and share our launch dates.
Yes. And Bill, if you're still out there, not out there like in the great abyss, but if you're still with us right now, reach out to Devon and let's get you on the books to have you come back in with us, because that was just, we love having you on the show. So
he is amazing. Bill is a hypnotherapist and he does amazing work, just as Teri. And I recommend them both very highly because both are really good at what they do. And I believe in getting help when you need it. It helped me, and I know that it can help just anybody. Shar says, hello, ladies. We're good to have you. She said, Shar says, sitting in a doctor's office. Fun. Well, I'm glad you're here watching us, and we can at least give you a little brightness as you wait there at the doctor's office. Well, I'm going to turn it over to you to take us home, Teri.
All right. Well, as always, first off, it's really good to see your face today. It's good to be back live. And as always, for everyone that has joined us, we appreciate you sharing your time, your energy, and your thoughts and wisdom with us. And it's fun to show up because you show up. And so until we see you next week, whether it's live or whether it's previously live, but live again, that's so confusing for a lot of people. But anyway, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Until we see you then, please take time out to listen to your body. It doesn't take long. It does. I will say that, because we don't get too many shows that I don't throw some sort of Teri thing out there. You got to pee or poop, you listen to your body. Do you not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you can listen to your body when you got to pee or poop, you can take a few minutes out of the day to listen to your body, just to check in. What am I feeling? Am I carrying myself like this? Do I need to sit like this? What am I feeling? Is my body tensed up? Am I like a twisted up rubber band? Start to listen to your body and release some of that stress that you have. If you choose to, grab the Louise Hay book. It's fantastic. Lots of wisdom in there. And also take time out, no matter where you are or how stressful or how peaceful your day is, and just enjoy what is around you. you know, enjoy what is around you. Shar is at the doctor's office. Clearly she's at her cardiologist. So I would say
listening to her body.
Listening to her body. And you know what? That is a beautiful thing. So listening to your body and beginning to silence the brain a little bit, because while they travel together, they're kind of like siblings. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And they're constantly going back and forth. Our goal as human beings and good stewards to this gift that we have, this vessel that we have, is to allow these two to become best friends and to walk together. And so until we see you next week, please take time to take care of yourself, prioritize you, and increase your peace. See ya.
Bye, you guys.